thousands of pro-autonomy demonstrators rallied across eastern Ukraine, with the coup-imposed president in Kiev threatening to use military against the activists if they don't clear the seized government buildings by Monday morning. Over 10,000 people have taken part in protests in different towns and villages of the Donetsk region in Ukraine, the local administration said. In the region's capital, Donetsk, the local government headquarters still remain under the anti-Maidan activists' control. Sunday, one of the leaders of the recently declared Donetsk People's Republic, Denis Pushilin, once again stressed the urgent need a circumflex to send activists while prepare a referendum to different towns of the Donetsk region, as he spoke at a rally in Sich's center. The recruitment of volunteers, eager to travel to Slavyansk and other towns in eastern Ukraine where a circumflex and anti-terrorist operation against the protesters by the Ukrainian security forces is underway, also took place during the rally. Over 100 people volunteered by midday Sunday, with buses already prepared to take them to their destinations. Hundreds also gathered for rallies in support of federalization in Druzhkovka, Debaltsevo and other Donbas towns. According to Ukrainian media, the city authorities in Zhdanovsk and Kirovsk have expressed readiness to start talks on the recognition of the legitimacy of the Donetsk People's Republic. A rally in Mariupol in southeast of the country resulted in the seizure of city council by the pro-Russian protesters, EDRTAS news agency reports. Over 1,000 demonstrators, who chained to a circumflex Slavyansk weary with you. A circumflex and a circumflex referendum, a circumflex have forced the police guarding the building to retreat. Some 1,500-2,000 people are out in the square in front of the Office Security Service of Ukraine, SBU in Lugansk, which is held by the protesters for several days now. According to Russia 24 channel, the majority of the city's police have switched to the side of the demonstrators, supporting their push for federalization. Kharkov tensions. Meanwhile, dozens asked for medical assistance in Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkov, after the pro-federalization demonstrators clashed with the Maidan activists. The rallies of two antagonistic sides, which saw a joint turnout of around 3,000, were staged in the city simultaneously, with the police being unable to prevent provocations. A circumflex 50 people required medical aid. Around 10 of them were taken to city hospitals. The doctors are speaking of minor or moderate injuries. Among the wounded there is one policeman, a circumflex, the local law enforcement authorities said. Baseball bats, stakes, stones and stun grenades were used by both sides during the scuffle, Moskovsky Komsomolets newspaper reports. In Zaporozhye, the police had to use tear gas to break up clashes between the pro-federalization and Maidan activists, Union news agency reports. Kiev issues new ultimatum. In the capital, Ukrainia's Security Council convened for an urgent session following the events in Slavyansk. A decision was taken to launch a circumflex, a large-scale operation, a circumflex with the involvement of the military, a circumflex, Ukrainia's coup-imposed president, Alexander Turchinov, said in a televised address. Later he said that the operation in the east will involve a non-regular regiment consisting of 350 reservists. According to Turchinov, the anti-Maidan activists must lay down their arms and abandon the administrative offices they have occupied till Monday morning if they want to avoid prosecution. Turchinov also said the new authorities in Kiev are ready to consider giving more powers to the region. Earlier Parliament appointed Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk pledged to push through a law allowing regional referendums in the country. The order to use military against the pro-federalization protesters in eastern Ukraine by coup-imposed President Alexander Turchinov is a circumflex criminal in its nature, the Russian Foreign Ministry said in a statement. Interim Interior Minister Arsen Avakov has announced the creation of special Interior Ministry units based on civilian components all across Ukraine in order to tackle separatist moods. Kiev is ready to attract 12,000 people into the new force, which will receive the necessary arms, equipment and supervision, the minister wrote on his Facebook page. The order to put together a circumflex stabilizing unit in Lugansk region has already been signed, Avakov wrote, adding the eastern regions of Ukraine will be first to get a taste of the new force. Earlier on Sunday, a gunfight reportedly broke out at a checkpoint, which was established by protesters on the outskirts of the city of Slavyansk. Reports on those killed and wounded kept streaming in all day, but lacked consistency and could not be independently verified. According to Interim Interior Minister Arsen Avakov, one of the troops from Kiev was killed and 5 others were injured in the skirmish. Protesters in Slavyansk said 1 person was killed and 2 others injured on their side, adding that 2 of the Kiev troops were killed. Unrest has gripped eastern circumflex Russian-speaking circumflex parts of Ukraine after pro-EU protests in Kiev ousted President Viktor Yanukovych back in February. Following the accession of the Republic of Crimea to Russia, people in Donetsk, Kharkov, Lugansk and other cities are also calling for a referendum to decide their future as part of Ukraine.